moving overseas was, as I described, kind of the digging up of my roots. And then I had to figure out, how do I find new roots and how do I not only survive overseas, but then begin to flourish overseas. And that was a process. It took a fair amount of time and a considerable amount of dedication to the cause. When you first move to Japan, you just try and learn a little bit about what's happening around you, try and figure out how to drive on the opposite side of the road, get kids in school, set up your life. But pretty quickly thereafter, I started to see a need in the community around me. People that needed to think about their professional selves, even if they weren't able to work, think about what that meant for their future, how they wanted to step back into the workforce and have these thoughtful conversations, have a community, a peer group of professionals. My sweet husband came home from work one day and I had this idea that we could build this community, this virtual community.
She told me that she was looking to start a nonprofit organization to help promote the stories of professional military spouses.
And my husband, who has known me for a long time and is very clear that when I'm working and thinking and moving forward that I'm happier, he's happier, our children are happier, said, sounds great. What does that mean? What do we need to do? And so he was supportive from the very first moment the organization, the idea came up, and he has done nothing but support me and encourage me along the way. The Other Side of Service was born out of necessity, as so many great ideas are. There's that moment where something has to, you have to care so much about it to actually do it, to set up the 501c3 and to establish yourself as a nonprofit. Mine, for me, it came from meeting a young woman who was smart and thoughtful and so hopeful about her professional career, who was struggling as she moved overseas to figure out what her next step was. And I realized how many times I had struggled with my own professional cycle, how many times I had kind of gotten over a hurdle to find that the next hurdle was not that far behind. And so meeting her and talking to other spouses, realizing how smart and talented spouses were, but how many were struggling to find viable career options. We wanted to make the conversation bigger and more inclusive. We wanted to talk to spouses around the world about what their challenges were and also what their solutions were. We believe strongly that the best people to solve this problem are the ones that are in it. We're our own best resource.
And that originally was an idea, and I think through some discussions and a lot of hard work, it became what we see as the other side of service right now.
There's a moment, and I think it should happen pretty regularly in a marriage, where you remember how great the person that you married is. And in the military community, they do this well. They have ceremonies and they do the pomp and the circumstances, and we raise the flag and we cheer our service members on. But as the spouse, often that doesn't happen. And so my husband came to the seminar and he got to see me doing my job, and I was standing in front of a group and I was teaching, and I was energetic and full of life and all of these things that he has seen throughout my career but has not seen in the last couple of years. And we left that night and he looked at me and said, "You are amazing and I'm so proud of you and I love seeing you do your job." And so I think that fulfillment is not just good for the person, but it's really, in my case, good for our whole family. I want my husband to, be in awe of me sometimes, and certainly I'm in awe of him and his gifts.
Very proud of her, and it's also given her, I think, a sense of purpose. And it took us moving here for her to really finally say, all right, there's something else that I want to do.
I now can look back and feel very grateful for what I've learned and the experiences that myself and my children and my husband have had, but it didn't come naturally by any stretch of the imagination, and it really came from this desire and this determination to find a way to use my gifts. And so that led me to hopefully giving back to the military spouse community and starting this nonprofit.